Okay, guys, let's take a minute, see how many people come in here. Still trying to figure out this StreamYard system. So sorry if this is, again, a little bit pixelated. I think I got it a little bit better than I did on the last broadcast, but still trying to figure out even how all this stuff works. I can see comments and things like that, but trying to get the rest of this sorted out is a little bit difficult. And let's see, I'm not. If we can wait, see if a few people come in here. Okay. So what I wanted to talk about with this broadcast was getting your money out of the banks. And so we're going to talk about a couple issues that have happened over the last week, and actually one of them to me personally, but or to I should say me and Amanda Lynn personally. But this whole fiat currency system. Let's start with defining what that is, right? So in general, our currency is something that we as a society adopt and say, yes, we're going to use this as a mode of trade, right? So in the past, we've had things, everything from teeth to salt to gold and silver to all these different types of currencies that we've used in the past on like a kind of a semi-barter system. And then over time, various governments have come in there and said, hey, we're going to make a true system using a currency that we as the government say, yes, this is the currency that we want to use, and this is what our people will then recognize. If we look back at different empires throughout history, they used to stamp the emperor's face or Caesar's face or whoever onto these coins, right? And when we'd stamp on these coins, the value of the coin was actually not in the stamp. The value of the coin was in the fact that it was gold and silver, right? So for as long as we have been trading and bartering, gold and silver has had that intrinsic value. So that's the first step to realizing what a currency is. A currency is just something that we as a society say that we're going to accept. The longest running currency over that time frame has always been gold and silver. So that's why the investors say that gold and silver is a good hedge against inflation. So now let's jump into modern times, what issues we are currently having in this fiat system. We have centralized control of this. So right now, there's basically one guy that gets to run the whole thing, gets to decide the value of your dollar. That's Jerome Powell. So, and at any point in time, who's ever in charge of the Fed or the Treasury, basically they get to decide the value of your dollar and by how much money they print, and they can just arbitrarily print as much as they want. And every time money is printed, like when we have a stimulus package or something like that, we continually lose value in our dollar. So getting your dollar out of this fiat system is a total shift in mindset, because the dollar that you have is obviously worth less than it was 20 years ago, 10 years ago. We know that. We know how the inflation works. We don't need to touch on that. But the that dollar is continually losing value. We're seeing hyperinflation over the last year. We're going to continue to see more hyperinflation over the coming years. And with that dollar losing that value, we need to change our mindset. We need to change our mindset in the aspect that our savings, then the savings that we want to have, the savings that we feel comfortable with, can be in various forms of currency that are more accepted locally, that are more accepted nationally, that are accepted internationally, right? So when I talk about internationally, I'm talking about things like cryptocurrency. Guys, I'm really, really sorry about this kind of pixelation here on the sides. I'm still trying to figure this system out and figure out how to fix that all. So if somebody knows, please post it down in the comment box. But so our value in our currency in something like Bitcoin allows us kind of or any cryptocurrency, I should say, allows us this internationally accepted currency that we can store value in. So even if it starts getting regulated to death in the US, that still has that international tangible value, and that's where that benefits. Now, on the flip side, people say, well, it's just pancake coin. It's just some digital currency that doesn't mean anything. Well, that's kind of what our Fed is. The amount of dollars that we have, I don't remember the numbers, the amount of dollars that we actually have printed versus what is actually available for us to use, those numbers are drastically different versus like the physical dollars that are available. So the currency that we're using is basically the same thing as a crypto. It has value because the government says it has value. Crypto has value because we as a society say it has value. You decide which one of those is more powerful to you. We did a video on crypto the other day, and actually some things have happened that Mandolin, and we'll go into that here in just a second, but Mandolin and I have decided to actually move a lot of our money over to crypto. So the banks in this fiat system, The federal government, the banks, and the Fed are the three entities basically that have the power over your dollar. Let me break that down to you, right? The federal government has power via regulation and taxation. So they can take that money at any point in time. They have things like civil asset forfeiture, which allows them to just arbitrarily take it, and then you have to prove that that you received it legally, which is just the most unconstitutional thing in the world. Different discussion. They have obviously the constitutional ability to levy taxes, right? So we know that that is something that they had in the Constitution. We know that they had taken it well beyond what the Constitution intended, because now we have taxes on toll roads, we have taxes on the money that you make, the land that you own, the food that you purchase with the money that you already paid taxes on, and you got to pay taxes again when you sell stuff. So the amount of overtaxation that the Fed has gotten, so we know that to be a problem. And then we look at the Fed controls the inflation and they control the interest rates. And so basically the Fed being one big bank, the bank of banks that loans them money. But that money that they loan, they just basically print it and say that it's there. And so it doesn't have any value other than that the federal government has said, we're going to give this value. So that's and the Fed also, they're responsible for the inflation. So they make their money off of inflation, because to the Fed, it behooves them to have high inflation, right? Because if the Fed has a lot of inflation, they have more money to use and to spend and to do with what they want to. They can make their deals with Congress and get their pet projects pushed through. And so that inflationary number there is why the Fed has an incentive to keep us in that system. And then we have the banks. The banks have an incentive to keep us in that system because that is their mode of business, right? And then the banks control your money. Now, let's talk about this for a second. What happened to me and Mandolin this last week? Our bank, and we have a really good bank, and our bank, they deposited, they cashed somebody else's check out of my account. So somebody I don't know, somebody I have nothing to do with, they cashed their check out of my account. It's a complete accident, not a big deal. We called the bank and they said, it'll take 7 to 10 days to fix. Well, wait, you took my money in 2 minutes, 7 to 10 days to fix. I don't get that. And so I spoke to a manager there. That manager said that she would have it fixed in 1 day. Okay, so we went from 7 to 10 down to 1 day. I was happy with that. Now we come full circle around the next week and we cannot access any of our accounts. All of our account information is unavailable online. All of our accounts have a fraud block on them because they said this was fraud. This wasn't fraud. This was an error on the bank and they knew it was their fault, but they reported it as fraud, even though I refused to say that it was fraud. I said, this is not fraud. This is an error on your bank. But for about 7 days, I think, we were unable to access our account. Now, the logical answer is to call them, right? Well, we did call them. We called the bank several times. It was a 3-hour wait. By the time I finally got through, I was on the phone 2 hours and 55 minutes before I reached a representative. I had to just put my earbuds in and just wait for them. So the bank had all the control. Now that had a lot of our money. Now all of our money is not in one bank, so we have some protection there. But if you have all of your money in one bank, you don't have a lot of protection there. And they can lock up that money. Then we have things like bank bail-ins. So the bail-ins holding your, they take your money basically to bail the bank out because the bank can't manage their money, and they're allowed to do that with all the new regulations that have been passed over the last 10 years, 15 years. They have every right to be able to do that. So that in and of itself is getting pretty ridiculous. So we've got these three entities that basically control the money system, and they want to keep you in that system. So the longer that you're in that system, the more that they win with this money. So what are our alternatives? Well, our alternatives are to have that money in things that either make us money outside of the system, make us money inside the system so we don't have money tied up in the system, or store value outside of the system. Let's talk about those. So we can store value in things like gold and silver, right? So gold and silver are a great store of value. Silver is a little bit more of a gamble on some things as far as trying to make some money, but gold and silver are your store of value. Gold specifically is the store of value. And because at a minimum, that's going to stay at or above inflation. So why would you not store it in there as opposed to a savings account? So we basically, cashed out savings. We have gold and silver stored all over. So that way we don't have a savings account. We have access to that money. Now, the downside to it is, it's a little bit harder to get quick access to that money. So you still have to keep some liquid cash. When we have a farm, so we keep a little bit of operating cash, and that's a little bit different to animal. Then you have the option of keeping that actual fiat currency in something like a safe at home, which is not a bad option, but you certainly don't want to keep too much because it's not protected in like a fire or a theft or something like that. The other thing is it's just dying from inflation the whole time that it's in there. So we really want to stay away from that fiat currency if we can help it, realizing that you have to play somewhat in that game. But we can move most of our chips outside of that game. We have things like cryptocurrency, which work as both a store of value and a way of building wealth outside of the system. So it allows us to store value outside of the fiat system, but it also, hey, thanks, Joseph, I appreciate it. It allows us to store value outside of the system, but also to increase that wealth, right? Because crypto is a little bit of a gamble. So, and like I said in the video the other day, I said that it was going to be a while before we moved into crypto. After this banking issue, Amanda Lynn and I said, you know what, screw it. We're going to take the rest of our money and our cash that we've been holding in the bank. We're just going to put it in crypto. We're kind of done with this, with the whole fiat system. It's just, it's getting ridiculous. So we have gold and silver and Bitcoin. Those are two assets. I'm sorry. There's a reverse on here, so it's taking me a minute to get back in the camera. So anyways, hey Mary, how you doing? I'm glad to see you. Anyways, so we've got the gold and the crypto, and for you guys just joining, I apologize about this pixelation on here. It's driving me crazy. I know it's got to be driving y'all nuts. I will hopefully figure this system out and get that fixed. Okay, so gold and crypto, they store value. They both have potential to make money, but the primary goal with both of those for us right now is to store value. We will speculate a little bit into crypto, but with a very, very small amount of money. So that's kind of where we want to shift to. We want to shift our mindset away from this fiat system. The other thing that we want to make sure we're using the advantages of the fiat system and taking advantage, or not, I shouldn't say taking advantage, but using the advantages that are there. So using businesses that allow us to exchange that fiat system for assets that will either in turn benefit us or make us money. So, hey, thanks, Tom. I appreciate it. So anyways, you guys, I love all the comments. And maybe, I'm sorry, just made me lose my train of thought there for a second. So the assets that we're trying to build is we're trying to build things like a business or some type of side hustle that, and y'all, I'm sure most of y'all, if you haven't, check out the videos. We've got videos, and Mail-in are posting videos about how we've done these side hustles, things that we're doing. Some of them are a little bit dry because they're talking about like LLC development and that sort of thing. But if you have any interest in starting a side hustle or a business, we're going to keep going with those series and posting a video about trying to get one out about once a week on that, on kind of what we've done on the side hustle side of things. And we've been self-employed for years now. It's been a long time since we've worked for anybody else. So, and that's just been a great blessing on our family, and we've really enjoyed it. But building a business or a side hustle. So whether you want to stay with your job, if you have a great salary, great benefits, or if you're somebody that, like my brother, he can't leave his job because of the health insurance, and his wife being somebody that's fighting cancer, so that makes it a little bit harder for him to leave that job. He stays with that job regardless, and so, but there's still opportunities for side hustles, and he's kind of a hustler, so he's always keeping his eyes out for those side hustles, and that's kind of what I'm encouraging y'all to do. So go find those side hustles. Find a way that you can make money in that fiat system. Then you can take that money out of the fiat system, buying things like those assets that we talked about, gold, silver, crypto. So good foundational stores of value that are historical stores of value. I realize crypto is a new thing, but I think crypto is going to be a long-term store of value. I don't see crypto going anywhere. I see it going up, if anything. So let's move those assets out of the fiat system into something like gold, crypto, some type of solid asset, or something that is going to make us money via a business. Real estate is another great way to store value. Now, what we store value in here, and let me just explain this. So we have our livestock. So livestock stores value for us. I can turn around, I can sell that livestock tomorrow, I can cash out, I can get all my money back, everything that I paid on that, minus probably the vet bills. I can get all my money back out of that. I've still made money off the cattle, so the vet bills are covered in the long term. But short term, I can get 95% of my money back out of the cattle. It's a store of value. It's also a way that I can make money. So we also have to have ways of keeping that, right? So I store value in something like hay. Hay, unfortunately, is a degrading asset, right? Because it biodegrades over time if I don't use it, and I have to feed it to my cows. But it still is a store of value because it's something that I have to have here on the property and something that allows me to feed my family. So we store value in hay. We store value in things like bullets, ammunition, and when I say bullets, ammunition, I'm saying like bullets for reloading. I'm sorry, let me clarify that. And then ammunition, we store value in firearms. We store value in gold and silver. We store value in things that have good tangible value. We store value in real estate. So we have our acreage here. We're always looking at buying more. We store value in timber on our property that has value for us to sell to timber companies that we can log then on our sawmill. When we got the stimulus check, guys, we didn't go spend it on a new iPhone. We bought the sawmill for our farm. something that can make us money or save us money, that sawmill has paid for itself 2 times over. It could get stolen today, and I'd still be ahead money. So those types of things allow us to store that value in something that makes money. Yeah, Badger, absolutely right. So I convert as much paper money into real money as possible. Silver is not available in my. Oh wow, that really sucks. I just bought some more silver the other day. Check out Badger. I don't know where you're at, or why, I guess why silver is not available in your area. But if you, SD Bullion and Miles Franklin are very good. We go through Miles Franklin. David at Miles Franklin has always been super, super helpful to us. So we buy most of our gold and silver through Miles Franklin. SD Bullion sometimes a little bit more convenient, but I like the guys over at Miles Franklin, and they're usually a little bit cheaper. The other thing I like is he sends me a nice price list and shows me everything on there and says these are the current prices, and that's been really helpful for us to pick out, because when we buy gold and silver, we just buy it at the lowest price period per ounce. That's what we're looking for in it. So I don't particularly care what's stamped on it. Oh, Joseph, moving off grid. We tried that actually a couple of years ago. We bought 150 acres up in North Alabama, and when we tried to move off grid, we ended up having a baby that kind of screwed up that plan. So we stayed here, and we're not entirely off grid. We're as much off grid as we can be. We're getting our well drilled. We'll actually be having a video. We've got the well drilled now. I'll be doing a video here in January about how to install the well pump and everything. So we'll have that going on. But and then Amanda Lynn, she really wants to move into solar. So I'm right there with you, man, moving off grid and getting as much out of the system as we can. Again, those are stores of value, right? So we know we're going to use water and electricity. We can store value in something like a well or an off-grid electrical system. Our well, we figure our well will pay for itself in about 3 years on what we spent on it, and then after that we're money ahead, and we'll get our value back out of it if we ever sell the land. Our land is divided by an easement that goes through it. So if we sell our land, we'll probably just sell the house and keep the land on the other side. If we ever decide to move, so we would probably just move here locally. But anyway, so kind of digressing a little bit. So finding those things, those ways that y'all can store value is really the point of this video. Getting out of that currency system that is just, guys, it's just a slave system, right? It's designed to keep you in debt. It's like everybody worrying about their credit score. I don't have a clue what my credit is, guys. I don't care. We check it periodically just to make sure that nobody's stolen our identity, and then we lock it. Because our credit score does not matter to us, because we don't borrow money. When we do borrow money, it would be under a business rather than under us personally. So our credit score is not really coming into play. And I don't generally borrow from banks. We're looking at buying a bunch more land to do some, to actually open up a training center, firearms training center here. And we've been talking to a couple investors. They don't care about my credit score. They've been working with me for years. They care about me personally. So, and they know that the way that Amanda Lynn and I do business. And so that's what we're looking at. So getting out of this system that says you need to borrow a bunch of money to get ahead. You need to, and don't get me wrong, using debt as a tool has some advantages. But now is not the time to be taking out car loans if you can avoid it. And that's one thing that, Dave Ramsey, is never on the car loan. Madeline and I've talked about this, and, there's a certain aspect to it that if we got in a wreck tomorrow and our truck was completely totaled, we need a truck, and we're probably just going to go take out a small loan and do one rather than pulling our money out of savings. And I'd rather have a small auto loan than cash out my gold and silver. So, yeah, Badger, same thing. Everybody, we pay off. So Badger said he paid off everything and his credit score went down. Man, a lot of people that happens to. Once you pay it off, because they don't want you out of that system. So you pay off everything, and they kill your credit score. It is, yeah. The whole credit system is 100% a scam. It's designed to keep you enslaved to basically the banks. At the end of the day, it's the banks that are the ones that are winning this system. So it's just a system that we need to move ourselves out of. And there's easy ways to move us out of it. There's ways that we can do slowly over time. We've only been, Amanda Lynn and I have been moving out of the system for probably the last 5 years real consistently and very aggressively over the last year. We saw inflation just going crazy. And the fact that, you can still buy gold and silver now. And you can buy gold and silver, store that value in there, and you didn't lose that money this whole last year on inflation if you buy, because gold and silver is not that much different price wise. There's always that little fluctuation in there, but it's not that much different price wise than it was in like January of 2021 of this year. I'm sorry, I keep thinking we've passed the New Year's, but January 2021. So this year. There's not that much difference between January and December in the price of gold and silver. I looked it up the other day. I want to say it was maybe about $100 an ounce, but don't quote me on that. Somebody, if one of y'all can look it up real fast and post it. But anyways, storing those values in gold and silver right now, you can still get out without getting crushed by the inflation and the buying power that you lost this year. And it's why food is a great thing to store some value in. I'm not on the prepper mindset of storing 35 years of food for 10 people, but certainly having, you know, the way we grew up, Dad always stored about a year's worth of food on hand because we raised a lot of our own. And so when you raise your own, you tend to just have a year's worth of food stored anyways, because you raise a cow, that cow's generally, a cow feeds a family for about a year. And then, you know, one cow and one pig will feed a family for about a year. And so that whole next year, you're raising your one for the year after. So you have to have a way of storing that food, you know, canning or freezing or drying or whatever. And then, you know, when you do a garden, you're kind of in the same boat. And we have been working on our green thumb. Amanda Lynn's been practicing. So hopefully we'll get better at that and have more garden videos. We are going to have, if you guys haven't gone to Learn to Grow, she's got a great channel, Masilla at Learn to Grow. She's got a great channel. And Madeleine's been talking to her. I think in January, we're going to try to do like a 30-minute or an hour interview with her. If anybody wants to learn how to really grow some food in their garden, she's just got a world of knowledge. And she's been real helpful to Amanda Lynn. They've been communicating a lot back and forth. So definitely check out that channel if you haven't already done so. No, a lot of y'all came over from Economic Ninjas. I don't have to tell you about his channel. He's got a phenomenal channel. We tend to watch every video. I listen to it a lot while I'm working. He's kind of like my podcast. And Neil McCoy's got some great analysis on especially on the real estate market. If y'all haven't checked him out, he's got it's an outstanding channel. And Heresy Financial, that's one that I've been watching lately. I'm not 100% certain what my opinion is on that channel yet. It seems like really good information. I'm just not sure. I need to dive into his sources and stuff like that a little bit more to see if his information is accurate, then it's great. Then it's a great channel, but I got to dive a little bit more into his sources before I can say that necessarily. But if y'all haven't checked out those couple of channels, those are really, really good channels. So, and as far as trying to teach you how to get out of the system, they've been a huge help to us. So anyways, guys, I really wanted to do a video on what was currency, and then this whole banking issue hit us. And then I read an article this morning about a lady that I think it was Chase Bank. She was banking with Chase, and they accidentally somebody else had sent a money order for $28,000, and they removed it from her account and sent the money order on to somebody else. So and she'll get her money back, but she's in the middle of fighting that right now. She's completely out that money while she's fighting it. And we got to the point to where we said, you know, that's just not the way we want to store our money. I'm not going to store $28,000 in a bank account anymore. You know, I'll put it. I'll send Miles Gold $20,000 of gold and tell them to store it in their vault. I'm just not. Yeah, appreciate that, Beth. Yeah, Ninja and Neil are both great resources. And if anybody has any more information on Heresy Financial, I'd love to hear that. But like I said, I'm still kind of researching his channel. I like Neil McCoy because he puts a bunch of information on there as far as like where he gets the data. And he's very much onto just the raw data. This is what he believes the raw data says. He gives his little analysis, but he gives you the raw data so that you can make your own determination. So that's why I've really, really liked his channel. Also because he's very well versed because he's English. And so he's very well versed in both the UK real estate world, which I know nothing about, and the American real estate world. So he knows a lot about the global politics, which we all know that the global politics really do come back to affect you as far as, you know, what's going to happen in the EU. We start to see similar things happen here, and all those things just kind of bounce back and forth from each other. So. Really good information there. Guys, I'm sorry this went on a little bit longer than I had intended to, so I really appreciate y'all that joined in and commenting. And Mary, I'm glad you were able to get on this one. I know that you said it's kind of hard for you to kind of live chat, so I'm glad you were able to jump on. I'll see that. I'll let Amanda Lynn know that her peppers are looking good. She likes posting the videos, but she's always discouraged because they don't seem to be very popular ones. So I'll let her know. But anyways, guys, really appreciate y'all watching, and y'all obviously probably watching now. Or oh, hey, Truck Boy, nice to see you. Oh yeah, thank you. I was just fixing to sign off, man. So but anyways, since this is going to go live, I'll tell everybody, please subscribe, like the channel, share the videos. Y'all have a great weekend. We will probably post. We're trying to find what times work the best for posting. We found that Saturday mornings and Friday mornings work really, really well for our videos. And then it looks like Sunday kind of mid-afternoon. So we'll probably have another video coming out mid-afternoon. I actually filmed it yesterday, but I can't remember now what it was on. I did several yesterday, and I did one on currency, but I won't redo the currency one since we just talked about it. So anyways, guys, y'all have a great weekend, and let me go ahead and sign off here, and we'll catch y'all later.